What is up, lads and ladies, it's Edward here and welcome back to another video. Today I am doing it on my Premier League predictions for the 2018-19 season, and I'm not going to go into too much depth with it just because, you know, everyone else has done them, plus I'm extremely late. So we're going to get straight into the video anyway with the bottom three. I think 20th will be Cardiff, 19th will be Southampton and 18th will be Huddersfield. Why do I think that? Because I think these three teams, they haven't invested in quality like to really push themselves on, and two of them really struggled last season. They made just enough time to be able to get out of the relegation zone, and I think Huddersfield haven't really invested well in their squad. Cardiff definitely haven't. Alright players from the clubs, but Cardiff is going to be that one where it's just going to go up and then just go straight back down again. Just they haven't invested well enough, and the squad just isn't, it's not good enough to survive the Premier League. And Southampton lost, I think, one of their key players, which was Dusan Tadic, to Ajax, and again, this team, they haven't invested well. They've brought in a very good striker in Danny Ings when fit, a good defender in Vestergaard who might be able to help keep them up, but it's relying a lot on players when they really struggled last season. Plus they've still got Mark Hughes, who was able to help them survive, but only just. In 17th is Watford. Watford have that little bit more quality. They've still got the likes of Deeney, they've still got Delafeu. They did bring in Ben Foster from West Brom. It is definitely a quality keeper, ahead of Carnaces and ahead of Aurelio Gomez. So that's really sort of like the key players why I think they'll stay up. And Bournemouth now in 16th didn't make too many key signings. Like Jefferson Lermo, I think, is the one. Will he be able to adapt to the Premier League, especially for a team like Bournemouth, who will probably need him to? It's not the players that they need to step up the quality. Bournemouth do have a decent squad, however, they might suffer with if a few injuries come their way, especially if Callum Wilson doesn't stay fit, because that is sort of their main goal threat. 15th, I do think, is going to be Leicester City, because Leicester sold their key player, which is Riyad Mahrez. Alright, fair enough. He was already going to be going, but Riyad Mahrez for 60 million is quite a lot of money that they should have invested back in the squad, and they will struggle this season. They do have Jamie Vardy, who they managed to tie down for a 4-year deal. I think if they got rid of Schmeichel, then they'd probably be very near to the relegation zone. Johnny Evans, maybe, yeah, James Maddison, some good quality there, which I think is the reason why they'll stay up a little bit higher than a couple of other teams, but they've not got that key game-changing player in Riyad Mahrez. You know, Riyad Mahrez was able to win them games. Now that they don't have him and they haven't replaced him well, I do think they are going to struggle without him. I've decided to put Brighton in 14th place because I think, again, a similar sort of circumstance. They didn't sell any key players, which was very important for them, or none that weren't replaceable. They've still not invested in like key players. They've got some good ones in the likes of Martin Montoya, they managed to get from Valencia. They also managed to get Bernardo, not being able to get that quality of player over, but I do think they can make a step up. However, I do think 14th is going to be the position that they will go into, just because a lot of the teams above have invested more into their squad. 13th, I think, will be Burnley. Now, I know Burnley had the incredible season that no one else could see them coming, and they do still have Sean Dyche, and yes, they didn't really lose too many key players from the squad, which I was very impressed with as well. Managed to get some decent players in Ben Gibson, and maybe Joe Hart can like recuperate some of the form that he had against the City. However, I think the main cause of them dropping down the table is going to be Europa League, because until like 2 days or so before the transfer window closed, I think they've really only made about 3 signings that are noteworthy for a squad which needed a lot more depth. So that is why I think Burnley will be 13th, because I just don't think they're going to have the squad. It's like with us, when we went into our second season, we just didn't have the squad of high quality players that was needed for Europa League to get them consistent and to be able to cope with the Premier League. 12th I actually will put as Newcastle. Now the reason I've gone with Newcastle as 12th and Brighton 14th is because Newcastle have that squad that's just that little bit more, mainly because of the likes they've kept a lot of key players that they needed, like John Joe Shelby stayed. Like, they've managed to keep Dubravka, they managed to sign him permanently, and he was incredible and turned their season around. So they've got a quality goalkeeper in, Ki Sung-young from Swansea, probably one of the standout ones or the better quality, is in, can partner up with John Joe Shelvey. Kennedy is in. Rondon, quality striker, knows the Premier League, strong, powerful, can adapt well to the situation of what Benitez wants in his team. And another key player is the Japanese Muto. Pretty decent World Cup, to be fair to him, was one of the standout players in the Japanese side. Very impressive signing for Newcastle. I think he's going to be a standout player for them this season. Now the next two sides in 10 and 11 are both promoted sides. For 11th I went with Fulham, for 10th I went with Wolves. Now these two managed to just splurge a load of cash. Now Fulham made a lot of pretty decent signings, to be fair to them, and upgraded their squad quite a lot. Jean-Michel Seri being one of them, the man who was scouted by Chelsea, Barcelona, Man United, has ended up at Fulham. That is an incredible coup, and I think that's going to be one of their main consistent players. Schürrle of Mitrovic as well, who was incredible for Fulham in the Championship. Can he recuperate that form? I think he can. Alfie Mawson from Swansea, you know, linked with a lot of clubs, Liverpool, Everton, United. You know, he's going to be one of those players that would jump out from the relegated sides. That's a quality signing for Fulham, and that's upgraded their defence massively. The highly rated Joe Bryan from Bristol City has managed to get there as well. However, Wolves, I personally think, have done that a little bit better, because you look at the quality, and I mean the quality, that they have brought in. Rui Patricio, starting goalkeeper for Portugal. João Moutinho, yeah, Euro 2016 winner. Raul Jimenez from Benfica. However, I do think actually one of them that's a very interesting one is Leander Dendoncker, who was scouted by a lot of top teams, has also gone to Wolves on a loan, who is an incredible player for Anderlecht. Midfield, centre-back roles, really was an outstanding figure in their sort of like goes in the Champions League. So going to Wolves for a loan deal only, but it's still for the entire season. He's going to be a good player for them, in my opinion. And the only reason that I haven't really put Wolves and Fulham up higher is because the team chemistry. However, they've got no competitions or anything to worry about, but the team chemistry is going to be the thing, because it's a load of new signings coming in, a load of new positions being filled, and it could turn out bad. You know, it happened with Everton when they brought in a load of new players. It didn't work out. So they've got to watch out with the team chemistry wise. Now then, 9th and 8th are two highly established Premier League teams who didn't have great seasons really at the start, but then sort of boosted it up that little bit more from managers that were brought in. 9th, I've decided to put Crystal Palace because they invested well. They invested very well in Cheku Kiate and Max Meyer. Kiate, solid, powerful midfielder who they desperately needed to partner up with Milivojevic. Max Meyer, awesome number 10, scouted highly by a lot of teams, who managed to somehow get away on a free from Schalke and has ended up at London in Crystal Palace. That could get them like passes forward, passes sort of like what Jason Punchin could have done, but they've stepped it up with Max Meyer, and I think he's going to also be their standout player. Decided to put West Ham quite high up as well, because the manager they brought in, Manuel Pellegrini, won the Premier League with Man City. Alright, had a lot of money, but to be fair to him, he's managed to convince Golden Sullivan pretty well to spend a lot of money in the squad, and it just shows. They've got Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson, who they spent a lot of money on, although it'll be interesting to see what happens when Yarmolenko comes to Goodison. Issa Diop, centre-back, powerful, strong, tall, quick, something they desperately needed at the end of last season when they had only like James Collins and then Winston Reid when he wasn't injured. Lucas Fabianski, one of the standouts of course from Swansea, who then went down. That is sort of the keeper that they should be aiming for, you know, that step up from Adrian, and it's a very good signing, and also probably one of, it could be potentially one of the bargains of the summer window, in Lucas Perez for only 4 million. Jack Wilshere being, I think Jack Wilshere is that exact player that they've been missing, someone that will link up the play, someone that can take the ball forward with them, now that Lanzini's basically out for most of the season. No, this one's a bit of a weird one, but I'd be willing to put my head like out there for it. I have put 7th as Manchester United. I'm sorry, but it is Mourinho. I mean, you look at what happened with Chelsea. When Chelsea went into their 3rd season with Mourinho, it's the exact same guy, the exact same squad, that won the Premier League title, and they just dropped. They dropped off because it was Mourinho's third season. Alright, it's a big excuse, but you look at Mourinho's mentality now, that is not good to have for a team like Man United. He's very miserable, he's very arrogant towards the board, towards Ed Woodward, especially considering the fact they didn't get a lot of players, and he's starting to put the blame game towards actually some of the players as well from not coming in early. It's going to bring, I think, the squad mentality down, morale a lot, maybe get Mourinho sacked as well. I think they could drop off a lot. I mean, it is probably a big guess considering who I'm going to say next in 6th, but I think United are going to have maybe a poor season. 6th position, I have actually put Everton. I think this season I think actually it's either going to be United and Everton. They're sort of like going to be 6th and 7th, but I am going to be a little bit biased and say Everton will go 6th, because I think we can this season. I think we've got a good attacking manager. What we desperately needed, we invested well in where we needed to be, in good centre-backs, Kurt Zuma and Yerry Mina, and also investing with Richarlison. A lot of money, but I think he's the quality player that we need, who's young, and that's the key thing. The players that we've brought in, all 25 or under. That is the biggest thing for us. Andre Gomez as well from Barcelona. Let's hopefully, fingers crossed, he's got that form that he had for Valencia, and we could be a team to watch out. 5th, I've actually decided to put Spurs because they didn't invest, but they didn't lose out on any players. They needed to invest, and the fact they didn't invest at all, that's going to cost them, especially when their London rivals are going to be ahead of them. I've put Chelsea are going to be 4th. They've lost Courtois. They've brought in a player who I think is actually very unknown, because like Capabella was, I think that's how you pronounce his name, probably crucified it, but yeah, their new goalkeeper, he wouldn't be the first goalkeeper I would have gone for. I personally would have said I think they should have gone in for Jack Butland today, and they've still managed to keep hold of Hazard. However, if they lose Eden Hazard, then they'll struggle. Work with a brand new manager as well, and that midfield dynamo of Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, I think that's going to be one of the main ways that they'll get into the top 4 this season. That's why they struggled last year. Alright, there wasn't sort of, in a sense, the midfield that could link up as well as it did the season before, because they had the likes of, I think it was Matic, who was still there. So yeah, I think that 3 could work very well together. Arsenal I decided to put 3rd because the 5 players they brought in, Socrates, Leno, Lichtsteiner, Torreira, they're all upgrades on that team. You know, Torreira can go in the place of Granit Xhaka, Leno will go in the place of Cech, Lichtsteiner can go in the place of Bellerin for now, and Socrates will go in ahead of the likes of Mertesacker or Mustafi, and all of 3 or 4 of those players are going to be upgrades on the entire players that are there, and that will push them on. Plus, brand new manager, you know, just sit back and try and get points like Wenger did in later years. So I think they're going to put on a real title challenge, but just miss out on the top 2, and it kills me to say who I've put 2nd, but it is going to be Liverpool, just because they've managed to invest in the one position that I've always said, they get that, they're going to be solid title challengers. They haven't really sold anyone key either, and brought in Fabinho, Keita, who've just solidified in midfield, Alisson, goalkeeper they've had so far, and I think that's the next player that is going to be sort of the Reina, the Pepe Reina, in a sense, heir. Yeah, they'll make a solid title challenge. However, City have to be, I think, the league winners this season. It's theirs to lose, just because they didn't need to invest much in the squad. That's the key thing. Riyad Mahrez coming in. However, he's only going to be a squad player, which just shows the amount of quality that they've already got in this side. As long as they keep playing the same football, as long as Guardiola can adapt, then I think they're just going to win the league. Again, it'll be boring, but yeah, City to win the league. But anyway, that is my predictions for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you sort of maybe agree with it. If you don't, put down in the comments below. I feel like Everton's position is going to be a big talking point, but if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, leave your comments down below. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel for more videos. We are so close to 600 subscribers, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.